Inside the Magic, covering Walt Disney World, Disneyland, Universal Studios, and more.
Hello, my name is Sean Spazzato with this week's Inside Walt Disney World. Today is Wednesday, February 6th, and I am here at Disney's Hollywood Studios, as you can tell, which is now in my background. I am here to give you guys a quick update and look at what's going on at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And then later today, I want to take you guys over to the new Pixar Place, which is now themed after The Incredibles. And I have to say, I've seen it already and it is, in fact, incredible. And then later today, I want to try to take you guys over to Disney's Riviera Resort, just to give you guys a look at some of the construction going on in that area. Not sure how much I'm going to get to show you guys of the physical land, but I guess we will see as the day progresses. But anyway, sit back and relax and join me on this look around Walt Disney World this week. For my next stop, I am now in Toy Story Land, giving you guys a look at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge.
As you can tell, on foot, I really don't have the best perspective of this park, but I will now be utilizing some pictures lent to us by our friends BioReconstruct on Twitter to show you guys some aerial views of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge here at Walt Disney World.
Recently, really, actually at the beginning of this year, we got a lot more news about what's kind of going on in this area. Now, specifically, the news we got was more based out of California, but it does, of course, still kind of connect to here as well. And this news came from Barron's, a publication that got to spend an afternoon touring Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. As part of this report by Barron, they did talk about Millennium Falcon Smugglers Run, which is one of the two new attractions coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And essentially, they discussed the idea of the story for the attraction, how it's following Hondo Ohnaka, a pirate who cut a deal with Chewbacca for the use of the Millennium Falcon. And in the attraction, guests will get to serve as the ship's pilot, which we kind of already knew. But one thing that was new from this report was that this whole experience will allow guests to see real-time results of their actions. And this includes them taking off and knocking over a spire during takeoff, which is honestly so wild and cool. But yeah, and they also talked about the fact that the flight will be different each visit. So say after a ride, a visitor might stop at Oga's Cantina, which is a new drink location coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. You know, they might be told something like, the boss isn't happy about how you brought the ship back. And this is actually part of this interactive story that kind of builds the experience throughout the land. And you can actually opt in or out of this. In this same report by Barron's, they also discussed Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, which is the other attraction coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And as part of their visit, they kind of talked about how they got a small tour of this attraction. And on this tour, they learned of the attraction's queue, which they are saying will be made of rundown rooms the Resistance kind of repurposed as a base for operations against the First Order. And they also talked about, which is really exciting, that groups of guests might be captured at one point and kind of ordered along by the enemy before making their escape, before what they're saying is a trackless troop transport. And they said that, you know, as part of this, you'll see scenes including a stormtrooper formation and also one featuring Kylo Ren as well. And they kind of drew along the lines of it, possibly resembling the interrogation scene from Star Wars The Force Awakens. Another topic they discussed in this report also included Oga's Cantina. And they said during their visit, they got to tour the actual inside of the cantina, which they said is actually kind of small. They're saying it's for aesthetic reasons and that to kind of maximize capacity and keep visits from becoming all afternoon affairs, guests are kind of supposed to stand in this area. Barron's also was given some inside details on the retail experiences and shops coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge as well. And in their article, they talk about how one shop will feature droids that visitors can customize through an interactive experience. And a droid that is made to, say, be afraid of stormtroopers might signal its fear when one comes close to a stormtrooper, which is, of course, so wild. And Barron's also talked about how droids owned by members of the same group might recognize each other when they meet. Their report also talked about how the land will also feature another shop ran by Doc Ondar, who is a collector that was briefly mentioned in Solo, A Star Wars Stories. And essentially this character, who will likely be animatronic, will be found in a booth apart from the rest of the staff. And cast members might interact with Doc Ondar, asking him what he's willing to let certain items go for. Which, so essentially guests will, and you know, like cast members will be able to interact with this animatronic and like barter for prices and things like that, which sounds honestly so cool. I'm now entering the new Pixar Place themed after The Incredibles here at Disney's Hollywood Studios. You can see the Municiberg, this sign here on the side. For those of you who I guess really don't know why this land has kind of been rethemed to The Incredibles, this was all done as part of the 30th anniversary of Disney's Hollywood Studios. And as part of that celebration, they've decided to rebrand this entire area into Pixar, well, I guess one of Pixar's biggest franchise, which is The Incredibles. So immediately as you walk in, you get to see this brand new photo taking area. So if you look over here, this is kind of, if you were to stand here, this would be for someone who wanted to be Mr. Incredible. You'd be able to pretend like you're lifting that car. And then if you wanted to be like Violet, who's able to create different portals and things of that nature, you'd stand over here essentially and kind of pretend like that's your portal. Yeah, it's not super exciting, but it's definitely a fun addition, especially I know now with social media being so big, guests are always looking for different ways to include photo taking opportunities, and honestly I guess this really is the best way to do that. After you're done taking pictures in this new area, you can then move across the street to Municiberg Gifts. And here you can essentially buy a bunch of Incredibles themed merchandise, whether it's t-shirts, stuffed animals, they've got action figures, they have family themed merchandise as well. This shirt is my favorite, My Family is Incredible. They also have this incredible dress and just a bunch of different toys for kids. Another addition to this area is the Neighborhood Bakery, which is of course Incredibles themed with some of its different and delicious offerings, some of which include an incredible hero sandwich made with Italian meats and cheeses and olive tapenade on a hero roll served with chips. They've got a masked pretzel with cheese. This is actually my favorite because it literally looks like a mask, which is so cute. Unfortunately, you can't see through it because the holes are too small. But they've also got, which this next is actually my favorite, the Num Num cookie, which is so incredible. It's essentially this massive cookie tart, which in reality is just a massive cookie shaped to look almost like a small cake. The chocolate chips are so chunky and big, and they're served warm, which makes it even better, and definitely a recommendation of mine because honestly it's just really that amazing. Additionally, this land also features this brand new meet and greet area that was built specifically for one of Pixar's most fashionable, Edna Mode. Here's where you can experience Mode's Super Suit Gallery, where she keeps only her greatest creations, and you can also snap pictures with her as well, and you get to actually take pictures with her in this really fun decorated creative area, which I'm actually showing you guys footage of right now. And it's just fun and neat, and it's a way to get together with Edna Mode. Unfortunately, the character can't talk to you, but you can still interact with her all the same. And let's be real, when is it not fun seeing one of your favorite Disney Pixar characters in person? Last but not least, located in the back of this new part of Pixar Place is the Super Shindig Dance Party, which is a brand new dance party here at Disney's Hollywood Studios that essentially takes place all day long, and guests can come here to get down with their favorite supers from The Incredible, including Mr. Incredible, Mrs. Incredible, and Frozen. And this area is just full of music, interactive games, and just honestly, just fun. I can't really explain it other than that. One fun thing you might see over here on your next visit is you might actually recognize some of the other figures who are also walking around and entertaining guests. They appear to be, I can't confirm this, but they appear to be the citizens of Hollywood, kind of just moved over to this area, and they also engage with guests as well, and overall it's just a fun new addition to the area.
I'm now here at Disney's Caribbean Beach Resort, and I'm here to give you guys a look for my last stop at Disney's Riviera Resort, which, for those of you who are not familiar, this is going to be the proposed 15th Disney Vacation Club property here at Walt Disney World. It is Walt Disney World's newest resort, and I wanted to just stop by and give you guys a look at essentially the construction status of this building. Now, just a fun quick fact before I kind of dive in. Believe it or not, this resort is actually expected to be finished by December of this year. The theming of this resort is actually inspired by the grandeur, European style that Walt Disney experienced in his travels along Europe's Mediterranean coastline back in like the 1930s. It's actually inspired by Walt Disney's travels with Lily and Disney throughout Europe back in 1935. A little bit after Mickey Mouse was born, Walt wanted to take a break from the production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And so Walt and Lillian and Roy and Edna Disney, they all took this extended grand tour of Europe. Walt kind of fell in love with Europe and the art and the architecture and the food. And this all has kind of been utilized with a lot of the storytelling that we've seen over essentially almost the past 100 years of Disney's storytelling history. One thing that Disney is tooting about this new resort is the fact that this will be the first resort to have its own standalone, dedicated Disney Skyliner station. And it's actually going to be a means of transportation for guests to travel from this resort to Epcot or to Disney's Hollywood Studios as well. In fact, it'll also go to some of the other conveniently located hotels and resorts. Another exciting thing coming to this resort that I do believe is worth noting is this brand new restaurant called Topolino's Terrace Flavors of the Riviera. And it's going to be the signature table service rooftop restaurant located inside of this brand new resort. So in Italy, Mickey Mouse is known as Topolino, and that's kind of the inspiration for the name of this restaurant. And what's so exciting is that almost similar, in fact, incredibly similar to, the California Grill at the Contemporary, as you're eating and enjoying this restaurant, you'll be able to look out the windows and see these nighttime spectaculars taking place at the nearby parks. And what's so cool about this restaurant in particular and its location is the fact that you'll actually be able to see illuminations, reflections of Earth taking place at Epcot, in addition to the Star Wars and the nighttime shows happening at Disney's Hollywood Studios as well, which is so incredible. Now, as you can of course see from these views, this resort still has somewhat of a ways to go. Like I said earlier, none of the facade or exterior finishes of this building are complete. Now, Disney has said recently that the grand opening date of the resort will be announced at a later date. So as of right now, they don't know. But the prospective time of when this should be complete is supposed to be December of 2019.
Thank you so much for joining me on this week's Inside Walt Disney World. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos, and be sure to enable our notifications so you don't miss our videos when they go live. If you have any thoughts or opinions on this video, please be sure to comment them below, as we love hearing from you guys, all of your thoughts of everything we cover. Thank you guys again for watching. See you guys next time.